Pretty good. Yeah, doing good. I got my first LSAT in like 24 hours.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so taking it tomorrow at 12 Pacific time. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'm taking practice tests leading up these past few days. I was wondering do you have any recommendations specifically for like day before and day of kind of prep to get ready for it?
Yeah, sure. And I've got plenty on this in the course, by the way. There's a whole section just on test day. Biggest thing is day before, rest, do
Hmm.
nothing at all. So after this call, I wouldn't do anything else.
Okay.
Day of, some warm up questions, maybe a favorite game, passage, logical reasoning question, nothing too much, nothing
Hmm.
you haven't seen before. And
Okay.
then make sure your system is good to go for the flex and that your internet's good.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And let me see. Oh, okay, so let's say like out of sheer benevolence to LSAC, I want to take the test again in January. What would be like a good like how would I go about studying for a retake? Would I go maybe just go back through the course and rewatch some videos, or really at this point have I like learned everything and maybe I should just focus on taking tests and reviewing them and just keep on that kind of process?
Well, if you've learned everything, then you've got a 180 and there's no
Wow.
reason to retake it.
Yeah.
They actually don't let you retake if you have a 180. But aside from that, I would say weak areas. If there are any weak areas that you've
Yeah.
encountered, are there
Mhm.
any that come to mind for you?
Yeah, it's I don't know, I see a lot of fluctuation in my reading comp scores for some reason. Like some days I'll miss like two questions, that will be like a good day, two or three questions. And then like just yesterday I took a practice test and I missed like nine in the section, which I've never missed that many before. So I think that's like the most inconsistent section for me is sometimes I do great and like I get everything or most things. And then some days it's just like, I miss five or nine or stuff like that. So probably that section.
All right, so there you go. You got your
Yeah.
answer. Work on reading comp more.
Yeah. All right. So, but yeah, hopefully I won't retake in January. I'm feeling pretty good about this. Let me see what else. I wrote down some questions. Oh yeah. So I'm kind of aiming for the 2022 application cycle of law school. And so I was just kind of curious, like, what exactly is the cycle? Like, when should I be doing what? Like, I know if you're applying in 2021, like this is considered a late test day, right?
Not anymore. It used to be that January was considered late and November was a little bit late-ish. No
Hmm.
longer the case at all. November is totally fine. January is totally fine.
Okay.
Now, most people who are taking November and will take January are applying in the current cycle. That's not your situation, though. You said that you want to start law school 2022. So your
Mhm.
situation is basically that you take it now, maybe you take it in January, then you've got another 9 months to
Mhm.
do whatever, including work on applications,
Yeah.
before you submit them in September-ish, depending on when applications open in different schools. So you have plenty of time to get your personal statement, rec letters, optional essays, all that squared
Mhm.
away and top quality, several revisions, several rounds of drafts before you submit them. And you could retake in January if you feel that November doesn't reflect your full potential, but you could also retake in February or April or beyond. There's no rush.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Because I feel like I kind of decided I was gonna do the law school thing when like everything shut down, and I was like, oh well, I may as well just
Yeah.
go to law school now. But then I realized, like when I started looking at the cycle, I was like, well, I seem kind of late because like everything opens in September, and I'm just now taking the LSAT. Haven't started working on any personal statements or essays or even like thinking about what schools to go to. So I figured, 2022, and I'll just like do something in between and have that time to like, get everything really squared away and like put my best foot forward on all those essays and this test and yeah, things like that. So I'm looking forward to getting this done so I can have like a clearer picture of where I can go, what I can do. Also, another question I had, is there any way like to predict based on your score, like maybe what schools might give you some scholarship money, like if you're above their LSAT range, or is there like a good indicator for that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all this data is public. So you can see what the median LSATs and GPAs are at pretty much
Mhm.
every school. And so if you're above
Yeah.
their medians, especially if you're above their medians for both, then
Mhm.
you've got a decent shot at getting scholarship money.
Okay.
So it's not done until you get your LSAT official score back. You can input hypotheticals though, and
Yeah.
then there's your GPA as well to consider.
Okay. Cool. And I'm trying to think.
I want to circle back to the retake thing because we only touched on it briefly.
Yeah.
There's a lot that you can do. I mean,
Yeah.
I mentioned weak areas. You said reading comp. Reading
Mhm.
comp, of course, is then a natural area to work on. You talked about maybe going through the course again. You could rewatch stuff, and
Mhm.
maybe you should on weak areas. But also, I mean, there's so much in the course. You may not have even scratched the
Oh yeah.
surface of a
I
lot of it.
definitely didn't get to everything. There's a lot of like
Yeah.
master classes and stuff for
So
sure.
so you if you've covered the basics, that's great.
Yeah.
But if you go on, there's plenty of masterclass material with more advanced techniques. And so if you're looking to bring your prep to the next level, I would
Yeah.
dive into that more. And in many recent classes, we've been going over different review strategies to analyze the questions on a deeper level. And so
Mhm.
if what you've done has gotten you so far up to a certain point, you could maybe then add on another 5, 10, 15 points or more if you increase the quality of your review and deepen your analysis of the problems that you're getting wrong or having difficulty with.
Mhm.
I'm not saying anything about where you're currently at. I'm just speaking generally.
Yeah.
There could be a lot more that you could do with more time. And in your situation, you've got plenty of time because while you could go for January, and of course, it'd be nice to get the LSAT behind you, if
Yeah.
you find that you might want more time to go deeper on it, then you've got it available to go for February or beyond if you feel that you'd benefit from it.
Yeah. And do you see that a lot with reading comp, like such inconsistency in the scoring, like, going between -2 and -9 and, just everywhere in between?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I see variability for students on all sections
Uh-huh.
all the time. And there certainly is reason why you would see that on a section like reading comp, though, where a passage could be hit or miss. If there was a tough
Yeah.
passage that you didn't really click with, then you might bomb the passage. And that's 7 questions lost. Maybe by guessing, you got 1 or 2 of them right, but that's losing 5 points there, maybe. Then another tough passage, maybe you just lose 1 or 2, but together that gets you close to -7, -9. And so you want to make sure that you have the tools and strategies ready to tackle any passage, no matter how complex or difficult it might be. I mean, have you done May 2020 yet?
May 2020.
The newest LSAT Flex, the one they put in Law Hub.
No, I haven't.
I'm not going to suggest you do it for tomorrow,
Okay.
but if you decide to retake, then I would say you want to look at that as well as any other recent exams you may not have touched to
Mhm.
make sure that you can deeply understand any passage, no matter the topic, no matter the complexity of the language. And that's something we've been doing in the course with these reading comp deep dives,
Mhm.
where we take an hour to just analyze one passage, not even the questions, but really going line by line. And it's tough. It's a lot of work, but you can take the insights from that and apply it to what you do on your own.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like, I mean, are these more recent reading comp passages a little more difficult, would you say? Like I've saved like the last 5 tests for in case I do a retake. So I've done everything up to like, I think like 82 or 84 or something like that.
I'd say in general, yeah, reading comp has gotten difficult in
Okay.
recent years. I'm speaking broadly, that could be over the course of the past 10, 15, 20 exams compared to
Mhm.
like those that are in like the 30s or 40s, let's say.
Yeah.
So I think you've seen plenty of tough stuff already if you've done the ones in the 70s, but
Yeah.
80s are tough too. And so you've got some material available that's fresh if you
Mhm.
wanted to use it for a retake.
Yeah, I was saving that for the retake and just in case. What was I gonna ask? Man, I forgot.
It's all good.
Something to do with okay, so the order of the test, like usually it's randomized, right? Is
Yep.
that the same with the flex, or is it going to be presented out with how it is in the practices where it's like, games, reasoning, reading, or is it
Yeah,
like
it's randomized. I don't know why they did
Okay.
that in Law Hub. I hope that they re-scramble them at some point. They said they'll make the sections consistent between Law Hub and the books someday. Who
Okay.
knows when? But yeah, it's totally randomized. So it could be any order.
Okay. That's good. I think like perhaps one of the problems with the reading comp is that I always do it last. And so I'm like, even if I'm just doing 2 sections beforehand, like I still think that the mental fatigue maybe is a little bit of a factor by that point. Like I can see the light and I'm just like, let's just get through this and, finish this test. So I don't know, maybe like having it scrambled up will help me better.
And that's one thing to do for a retake then is when you're taking practice tests
Yeah.
for a retake, if you decide to retake, mix them up. And then you also want to, of course, think about how can you maintain the energy and drive to deal with reading comp, even if it does come up last, because there is a chance of that, of course.
Yeah. I feel like the thing with reading comp is it's like, it seems like something that's easy, like you should be able to get. Like it's just you just read it and you answer questions, and I feel like that's why I've neglected it, because I've always been like, I could do it. It's just reading, whatever. And
No,
like
it's dense. It's dense, but
I know, yeah.
there's tactics you can use to get through it and understand it, even if not every word or phrase or sentence clicks for you. There are little tricks and triggers you can use to help shed light on earlier confusing sentences.
Yeah.
They frame things. It's high level reading. It's difficult. It's very academic.
It for sure is. Something I've heard is that like reading, similar how you do with like logical reasoning, and you read like the stem before the paragraph, like what it would, I don't know. Have you heard it as a legitimate tactic to like read the questions of the passage before you read the passage, so you know what you're kind of looking for?
I've heard that as a tactic. I can't say it's a legitimate tactic though. I don't think there's much reason for it. I mean, you've got the difference. One big difference is that you've got approximately 7 questions for a reading comp passage versus 1 question for logical reasoning. So while I like question stem first for logical reasoning, you're only holding 1 question stem in your head versus reading comp. I don't think you could hold 7 questions in your head simultaneously. That's a lot. That's pushing normal working memory. And they're also generally asking for the same things. I mean, especially for the global ones, main idea, primary purpose, passage organization, you're always looking for those. Details you can go back when you need to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess in the retake, I would focus more on that because, logic games I feel pretty good on. It's just sometimes I'll get messed up with a question and miss like 2 or 3, which is disappointing. I'm hoping like, I can do the -0 thing on the real day. I mean, you wouldn't recommend drilling some like logic games just, right now and later on tomorrow?
No, man, take it easy. At this point, you've either got it or you don't. And I believe that you do have the potential to get a great score here. If you feel like there's more that you could be doing, save that energy for the retake prep and see this as a way to get the feel of the actual LSAT Flex administration.
Okay.
And see how you do. I mean, it's possible that the prep you've done will get you a great score, but if you want to take it even further and get an even higher score with more time, then channel that into the retake work. But take it easy, relax.
All right. Sounds good. And have you heard anything about like the proctor system and like, have students had any difficulties with it? Just like, I've heard proctors like saying like, oh, you can't use scratch paper or, just like, them not knowing how to administer the test and that affecting people's scores. Like, has that been solved, do you think, with like, I don't know how many flexes there've been, but.
It's happened, but it's gotten better. I mean, a lot of those things like the scratch paper confusion, that was back in May. And there have been some tech things and such, but I think at this point they've done at least like 4 or 5 administrations. They've worked out a lot of the kinks. Okay. The best thing you can do though is do a little bit on your end to be proactive. One is use ProctorU's tech system to test it out. It's at testout.proctoru.com. I'll email you the link. Cool. And basically that lets you do a system check, even like you could do it today to make sure you're all set for tomorrow. And you can even, there's like an automated part, and then you can also even scroll down and chat live with somebody at ProctorU they can even look at your system and make sure everything is good to go. Other thing I'll say is before you start your exam, ask them that if they have to interrupt you or take over your screen for any reason, that they pause the timer so they're not costing you time while they figure things out.
All right. And also you can't use a bathroom. Is that true?
Correct. You cannot leave the field of view of the camera.
And all right.
So minimize fluid intake and diuretics before you start.
All right. Okay. Sounds good. Well, I appreciate your advice, and I'm hoping this will be the first and last time I'll take this test. But if not, then I'll see you again, and we'll keep doing this.
Definitely. Well, either way, reach out if you need anything between now and then. I'm happy to help, and of course, let me know how it turns out.
Okay. Thank you so much. I will, definitely.
My pleasure. Of course. Have a good one. Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.